Hey, you all, and good morning. Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from that long, lonesome road. And I have left home. I wasn't home for very long. I was home for about a day. We got back from Savannah, and there was no video released yesterday. It wasn't because I was necessarily taking the day off, but I had decided that I needed to take a day to just focus on planning for future trips, planning the year out, booking hotels, making train reservations, making rental car reservations, making ship reservations, and I always kind of do things on the fly. Like, I'll get to my hotel room at 11 at night, and then before I'm editing, I'm like, oh, I need to make sure I get a hotel for when I'm going to be here or there. So I decided I'm going to take a day off, and we're just going to kind of lay things out, figure out where we're going to be, at what day, what we need to have, what hotels need to be booked, and, other things like that. So kind of laid plans out. I've had bigger plans, at the macro level. I kind of knew what I was going to do at certain times, but yesterday was all about like breaking it down, figuring it out. And we got a lot of plans coming up on this channel. And I'm never sure if I should announce my plans ahead of time, or if I should just announce them. I know a lot of times Adam liked to keep people on their toes, didn't like to make announcements, especially when he did the international travel. Sometimes he would tell me where he was going. Sometimes he'd just be like, stay tuned. Even a private conversation, I wouldn't push him too hard. If I pushed him, he probably would have told me. But I was like, okay, I'll we'll let it be a secret. I've always wondered about that. Is it better to just make announcements? One of the reasons I don't like to make announcements is because I'm just afraid that it won't come together, it'll get canceled. But I'm trying to be an open book here on the channel. I'm trying to live my life as an open book. So I'll just talk a little bit about what we have planned for this upcoming year, 2026. Not an upcoming year, the actual year we are currently in. So right now I am headed up to my mom's house. We're got some family stuff to attend to. But from there, going up on my way right now to Indiana to see my mom, and from there I'm hopping a train. We're going to St. Paul, Minnesota, the Twin Cities, St. Paul and Minneapolis. And if you've been watching the news, that seems rather foolish, and maybe it is, but I'm going up for unrelated reasons to why you may have been hearing about it in the news. Hopefully this isn't a foolish idea, but I already had something planned, and we're going to follow through. We're going to take a train from Chicago out to Minnesota. Something going on this time of year. I guess I'll tell you, they're having the ice carnival currently in Minnesota. My dad lives out there too, so I want to see my dad and my brother that are out there. And my dad's been trying for years to get me to come out to the ice carnival, so I'm gonna check it out this year. Just something new. Always love to check out new events, new things. So gonna be visiting the ice carnival in St. Paul, Minnesota. I gotta be back here relatively soon. I gotta be back to North Carolina because Jen is having her dental work done. And if you want to hear all about that, you can go over to her YouTube channel, Jenny Penny. She's been talking about it. In short, she is getting dentures, as she calls them, getting all of her teeth replaced. So I wanted to be in town to help her out with that. From there, the next period of time, a little foggier. Probably just going to be doing some train travel. I think this is a good time of year to do train travel. We're off season, not off season for me, but off season for a lot of tourist activities. So I think that's a good time to do some train exploration. So I think we're going to be doing some train things during that period of time. Let me just check my schedule here. I'll tell you guys everything. I'll tell you what's going on. Of course, March, you got Trans World. Always try to make it out to Trans World in St. Louis, the yearly Halloween show where all the haunted house owners meet and the haunted house industry people meet. It's like a trade show for the haunted house industry. And then in beginning of April, we are going to Europe. The plan is to do divide the trip into about 3 sections. We're going to be doing some time in London, and then from there, wanted to do some things a little north of London. There's a handful of things like Alton Towers, Blackpool Pleasure Beach that I really wanted to check out. So we'll be headed north, and then the third part of the trip will be France, planning on spending some days in Paris. One thing that's really important to me is to visit Disneyland Paris. That was the last thing me and Adam ever talked about, was him telling me how much I would enjoy it. So the plan is to go out there and to visit Disneyland Paris for the first time. And my brain is mush. I don't know if it's how old I am, how old I'm getting, or if it's just all this planning and all these things going around in my head. I just can't get it all together. So yeah, in May, we've got the Alaska cruise. Cruise ship was quite an experience. Certain things about it are not my favorite. Just the partying, drinking, not really my thing. The food was good. I loved the variety of food was pretty amazing. The convenience. But I wanted more like destinations, and we're gonna be going to Alaska, so there's gonna be a lot more destinations, a lot more ports. I think there's only 1 or 2 days that we don't come to some sort of port, and then it's actually an extended trip where we're gonna do a land tour after that through the cruise company. So excited, absolutely excited about that, and still thinking of potential other cruises for other times of the year, although nothing is concrete. After that, though, I'm going to take a train ride. I'm going to take a train ride from Vancouver after the Alaska trip. Going to be flying down to Vancouver and taking a train from Vancouver to Toronto. And that should be cool. The cross Canada train. I'm thinking that's going to be beautiful. Looking forward to it. I think July. I'm going to go through the whole year apparently. July, it looks to be the time we're probably going to be doing my Route 66 trip. Jen's going to plan on coming with me. She's always wanted to do Route 66. So we're going to try to take our time, do a long Route 66 trip. Of course, part of the trip will be Adam was planning on doing Route 66. So it's one thing I really wanted to do. Hopefully honor him in some way by doing the trip. Now, yeah, Adam was really excited about the 250th anniversary of America. So was I. So I'm going to try to do something to try to find out certain activities and things. I think I've already come across in Florida. They have like special signs up of stuff going on. And some of it is a celebration of roadside attractions, which is pretty cool. The Southwest Point had a 250 year sign. Okay, we made it to August. I guess I'm just going through the whole year here. I'll stop in August. August plan is to finish my long running state fair series, where I visited all the different state fairs. I have one state fair left. It is Wyoming. Planning on being at the Wyoming State Fair in Is it in August? Yes, it's in August. So planning on doing that to finish my long running series, and then the rest of the year still coming together. So that's a little preview of what to expect here on 2026. How things are going to go on this channel. I figured just lay it out for you guys. You guys can follow along at home. Trying to do some new experiences, things I've never done, especially with the cruises and the European trip. And then I don't have any other plans to do out of country, but I'm hoping it goes well, and I'm hoping that becomes a regular part of the channel. I just don't know a lot about the rest of the world, so I kind of have to most I learned about the rest of the world was from Adam's videos, so maybe I just use that as a guide on stuff I want to see and want to do. But switch gears a little bit here, because there's something, I'm just shooting from my heart, just talking about what's been going on in my brain here. And one thing about having your life on the internet, like myself, like Adam, and anyone else who has created something or put it up here online on YouTube or other sites, there's a lot of negativity. It shouldn't be a shock to anyone that the internet is a very can be, I want to differentiate here. The internet can be a very hateful, toxic place. I try really hard here on this channel to keep things positive. I do moderate my comment section to leave out some of the nastiness. It's okay, it's okay, if you want to disagree with me, or if you want, or something I'm doing, you don't like it, you want to say you don't like it, that's fine. I don't like personal attacks on me, on anyone else, on my friends here in my comment section, so stuff like that gets deleted pretty quick. That being said, from the very beginning of, I hate talking about this, because in some ways it gives that negativity some validation, which I don't think it deserves. But I'm just talking about my personal story here, and unfortunately, my personal story is intertwined with this internet hatred. Again, internet itself is both a positive and a negative place. In some ways, it lets me do what I do here. It lets me communicate with you guys. It lets us create this circle of goodness. It allows me an opportunity to put positivity out there, to put my adventures out there. And it gives you viewers a way to connect to me, to connect to what I'm doing. And it kind of creates a circle of goodness, of positivity. But there's a much dirtier circle out there, which we'll call the circle of evil. There's a circle of goodness and the circle of evil out there. And like I said, my story has been intertwined with negativity on the internet. Ironically, it turned out to be a very positive thing in my life, but I was made to make a choice between going full-time on YouTube or keeping my day job where I work for CPS. People that didn't like me from the internet contacted my work, harassed me through my work, and eventually led to my very unsupportive job to give me an ultimatum. And they basically, their ultimatum was more just like, they told me that I wasn't allowed to have my YouTube channel. And I put my 2 weeks notice in right there, because I didn't think I would be going full time, but I knew that if I built up the channel enough where if I had to give it up, I would never, ever be able to forgive myself. But in the end, it wound up being a positive thing, because I kind of had that boot kicking me from behind. I had that fire lit behind me that made me decide to just give it a shot. Can I do this full time? I told my viewers I was going full time, and they supported me, backed me up through Patreon, through other means, and really bridged the gap where I was able, from that moment on, to turn this into a career. 8 years ago that happened. I've been doing this full time 8 years, which still absolutely blows me away. And of course, unfortunately, that negativity, that hatred, has stayed a part of my life. Now, I want to be clear. There's definitely levels to like this negativity, and I feel like I was felt some of the worst of it. And I want to say I'm not alone here. I feel like anyone who is doing this full time, or even some of the people not doing it full time, are getting harassed and getting negativity pushed their way. Some more severe than others. In my case, I had, there was a man who was trying to contact my 12-year-old daughter. 12-year-old daughter, man was trying to contact my 12-year-old daughter. He wrote letters to her. He called her school. I tried talking about this, and I think one of the real disheartening things, obviously that's terrifying, but I saw people on the internet defending this person and being supportive of their actions. So you have someone harassing a 12-year-old girl, and then they have like a cheering section on the internet. That really messed with me, A lot of therapy to work through that. Some of that cheering section still out there cheering. I of course had my my public information spread everywhere. People would leave in comment section where I lived, and Adam as well went through this constantly. Never understood. Adam was someone who didn't ask anyone for anything, didn't create controversial content. All he was himself, and the amount of just pure hatred that you could find for him in these corners of the internet was just mind-boggling. And I never understood it. Never understood the hatred. Adam himself, he reacted to it better than me. He for the most part ignored it. Sometimes it would get to him. Honestly, sometimes it would get to him. With Adam, it didn't bother him that people didn't like him. It didn't bother him that people thought he was annoying. Adam, he'd say all the time, I get it. I'm obnoxious. What he didn't understand is like how someone could either make a video every day or go online every day and just be fixated with him. Like every day, the same person's saying you're fat, you're disgusting, you're lazy, you're a grifter, whatever that word means. You'll find that word thrown around a lot in these circles of hatred. It really doesn't mean anything. I don't even think they know what it means. But Adam was, he was good at it. He was good at it brushing away. He didn't watch the videos. And he's who I turned to in those hard times where I didn't think I could handle it. And, he would talk me through it. He's like, man, don't worry about it. They're losers, just don't watch the videos. Don't read the comments. Just be you, do you. You tell me that, the best way to get, quote unquote, not really revenge is not the right word, but, the real way to show them, to prove them wrong. It's not to argue with them. It's not to tell them they're wrong. It's not to fight with them. It's just to succeed, to live the life that I chose to live, for Adam to live the life he chose to live without apologies, without regrets, and just let them be mad. But, you know, in my weakness, obviously Adam dying threw me for a huge loop. A loop I'm still in. I've still not really centered myself, since Adam passed away. And, I made some poor decisions, the last couple of weeks. I quote unquote relapsed, if that's how you want to look at it. And I went and I read the comments, and I read, the corners of the internet that were very critical of Adam, and to see them use his death as a way to mock him further. Some people, you see people that spent their every day saying horrible things about him, and then they were pretending, like trying to rewrite history, like they were never, just trying to pretend to be sad that he was dead after what they'd done. And people criticizing me, criticizing my sincerity, for my loss, my sadness. And it got me down. Because I fed into it. Luckily I didn't respond. I didn't argue with them, but I fed into it. I felt it. I allowed myself to feel it. And it's, I don't get it. I don't get it. I think the biggest mystery, you'll ask any YouTuber, what they feel about the negativity out there, and they will say, they're confused. They're confused on why people watch the videos if they don't like it. So really the only answer there is, these people that do that go on the internet daily to say bad things, make bad comments, make bad videos. They love hate. They love negativity. That's what they feed in. That's their hobby, is hating things. So in a way, I feel sorry for him. What a horrible life that is. What a horrible life to do hatred as your hobby, as your interest. Adam talked about that. The circle of goodness, to put good things out in the world. You don't know how long you're going to be here. And Adam did. Adam put good things out in the world, and that's why people loved him, and that's why people will always remember him. The people that put out this hatred, this evil, this negativity, no one's going to remember them. No one's going to remember them. And if they do remember them, it's not going to be for good reasons. It's easy. I get it. I get it to a degree. You watch a TV show that you didn't like how the ending was, or a band you love puts out an album and it's not, you don't like it, you don't think it's good like the rest of their stuff, and you're like, oh, they should have done this different, they should have made the ending different, they should have had this character do that. And it's easy to fall into that trap. I've fallen into it plenty of times. I try to stay away from that now. I try to take things for they are, respect things for what they are, not what I think they should be or what I think they should be. Because I don't like it when people get mad at me for not living up to their view of what I should be. And man, it's something I learned so valuable from Adam is, what he did. It was a lot about creativity, but it was also a lot about freedom. Adam loved his freedom so much, the freedom to create, to do it himself. He would never sign a contract with someone else. He would never, he would never collaborate in official ways. He'd hang out with friends, and I've tried to base what I do that I have a different, my principles are a little different than Adam's, but, just to be able to keep himself free, was such a big thing. So I think that's why maybe sometimes it stung that people thought that they had an ownership over him or had the ability to say what he should do, who he should be. And Adam was lucky and I'm lucky that we have a job where we are given a freedom to be ourselves. So I think it's just kind of that he would call it punk rock. I don't know what I would call it. Maybe the Superman version of punk rock. But yeah, it's so important to me to be myself and to be true to myself and not fit into what other people think that I should be. And as long as you're able to stick with your own values and your own moral code, you can't go wrong with that. And let me tell you something. My whole life, I struggled before I did this. I struggled severely with self-esteem. I got bullied a lot in school. I was mistreated by several people close to me. And it was I always felt just like a loser, like I never amounted to anything, like I could never live up to people's expectations of what they wanted me to be. And I'll tell you what, like, the only times I've succeeded in life is when I shut those people out. When you stop listening to what other people expect you to do, how they expect you to act, how they expect you to be an adult and those things. Those are the times that I've succeeded, when I've gone with my own values rather than someone else. That's something I've learned very late in life, is you got to believe in yourself. You got to bet on yourself. Once I took a bet on myself and quit listening to what other people thought I should be doing, that's the time of my life, when I was the most successful. Obviously there's a lot of factors to being successful, to doing what you want to do. But I don't think, for the most part, like, bet on yourself. Sometimes you got to play the game. Sometimes you got to do things a certain way to make it work. But, once you've, when you're only truly answering to yourself, I think that's the path. That's the way, at least in my humble opinion. I'm so lucky. That I was able to figure out a way to do this. I couldn't have done this without Adam. So, it did take help from other people. And Adam would always say, dude, do you know how lucky we are? He knew it, and I knew it. Sometimes I needed reminding from him that, that this career that we happened upon, both of us, this wasn't the vision from the beginning for either of us, but it kind of became something bigger than either of us could have ever imagined. So for that, I consider myself incredibly lucky, incredibly fortunate to have all the viewers on this channel help me, support me, and allow me to keep doing this. It's amazing. There's a quote, and this quote means a lot to me, and it's by one of my favorite presidents of the United States, Teddy Roosevelt. And I'm just gonna read it off here because I want to get all the words right. It's called "The Man in the Arena." It said, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement. At the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who never know victory or defeat. And that means a lot to me because it's safe to sit on the internet and criticize those who put themselves out there, who try. You'll never succeed. It's a cliche, but you'll never be happy if you don't take those opportunities to get out there, to put yourself on the line. You have the opportunity to succeed, and at least if you don't succeed, you will have gone through the adventure. There's no telling where your adventure will end, but if you put yourself out there and you try, you will have an adventure. And where I heard that quote from Teddy Roosevelt was from an author who was actually a social worker named Brene Brown, and she talked a lot about vulnerability. And I think that goes back to a lot of the criticism, the negativity, who like to criticize people for being vulnerable, people who put themselves out there, people who, in my case, it's like people who are out there trying to be entertaining, not always hitting the mark, being silly for the sake of being silly, not afraid to make myself the butt of the joke, not afraid to look foolish in the end. People will make fun of you for that. People will mock you and say, "Oh, you failed. You said you were going to do this, but you did this instead." Those are the critics. To be in the arena, you have to put yourself out there. And what Brene Brown said was, you have to be vulnerable. And vulnerability is seen by a lot of people as weakness. Growing up, the kids at school, the bullies, saw me as being vulnerable. That's why they would attack and make fun of me, and that's why other people in my family, in my private life, may have been unkind. They didn't like the vulnerability they saw into me. But really, vulnerability is the only way that you can possibly succeed. If you're not willing to make yourself vulnerable, if you're not willing, if there's a job that you want, but you're afraid to be rejected, you're afraid to put yourself out there, you're afraid people will laugh at you, that I think is one thing that held me back from success, from happiness in my life. And I think that learning that it's okay to be silly, it's okay to be vulnerable. When I first came up with this channel, this is before I met Adam, before Adam really kind of showed me how a channel can be done. I was trying to figure out a way on how to make videos without putting myself in them, because I was afraid to put myself out there. And my videos didn't gain any traction until I started putting myself in them. This whole Carpetbagger thing. I don't like to call the Carpetbagger a character, because I think I am the Carpetbagger. I think the Carpetbagger and me, I feel the same person. I feel here on the camera, it gives me an opportunity to show off my favorite parts about myself, and leave out some of the things that leave out some of my very, very human failings. But even here on the channel, sometimes I talk about that, like my failure to not read stupid comments, to not watch stupid videos, and allow myself to be torn down or to be bummed out. But I fail all the time. I fail in these videos, I fail on this channel, but I keep getting up. The man in the arena. You can be afraid to fail, but you got to put yourself out there. If you try to keep yourself back, to stop yourself from failing, I don't think you can be happy. I don't think you can. And I think, I think about that, and I think in what Adam talked about with his circle of goodness, putting himself out there, putting positivity out there. Adam thought about it. Thought about he was going to be gone one day, and he wanted his legacy to be positive, and he succeeded in that. It's such a legacy, so much positivity that he put out there. And some people chose to attack him for his positivity, for his vulnerability, for his willingness to put himself out there. But in the end, no one will remember their words. No one will remember their negativity, and no one will remember them. They'll remember all the good Adam put out in the world, all the positivity he spread, all the inspiration that he gave to other people. So I get upset seeing people say mean things about my dead friend, but that's okay, because I know that he would, in some way, he would think it was funny. He's like, I'm dead, and I can't do it. And Justin Scar does a better impersonation of Adam, but Adam say, like, I'm freaking dead, and they're still freaking saying I'm fat and smelly. Like, oh yeah, I think he would honestly, I think he would get a kick out of it. I want to thank you guys so much for listening to me. Sometimes I got things in my brain, in my head, and it feels better to put them out here. I know you guys are not my therapist. I have a therapist, but I don't know. I'm the kind of person that I don't know, getting it out there. I'm, like I said, I'm kind of an open book in a way. I've kind of had to learn through the norms of society certain things you're not supposed to talk about, and that's just kind of what's been in my head. Again, it's been a whirlwind. I'm still trying to center myself. The day after Adam's funeral, I was like telling myself, trying to like build myself up, being like, we're gonna do what Adam would do, and that's to get out there and film and do our thing. And I got some really bad news that day. Again, not going to talk about that now. But it's, you always try to think, like, I got to get back to like starting point. Things are going to looking up. And, at my age, and just really at anyone's age, nothing is expected. And, there's no guarantee. Okay, I've been through one terrible thing, no other terrible things are going to happen. That's just not how things work. You can have multiple terrible things happen to you. You can have everything change in an instant. You can have someone taken away from you. You can have yourself taken away. You can break your leg and not be able to travel around and film videos. Like, you just don't know. And so going forward, trying to live like Adam would, and to keep going, and to just keep doing what I do. I think I think traditionally I've been very, very scared of dying, very scared of death, but seeing Adam die, I don't fear it as much, because I see that when you pass away, people remember what you put into this world. And now, more so than not dying, which is the most unrealistic goal you can ever have, because you absolutely will die, is creating a legacy like he had, to build on what I've already done, and to take inspiration from him and create something that will live longer than I will, and to leave my mark on this planet. And when people look back, when I'm dead, when I'm gone, and people look back on what I did here on this world, I want people to think, I didn't change the world, but I didn't make it worse for anyone else. And maybe in some ways, on an individual level, maybe I made it just a tiny bit better for some other people. out there. Maybe my videos helped someone distract themselves, help someone see something in this world that they wouldn't have been able to go see themselves. So I hope I'm making an impact, and I hope when I'm dead and gone, that's how people will remember me. All right, guys, I do have to get back on the road. Like I said, I took a day off, and I think I'm still trying to figure out kind of what the rough schedule for this is. There's never going to be a set schedule, like I'm going to upload on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. No, I like uploading daily. I like, especially if I'm on like a trip, like a road trip or a train trip or a cruise trip. I like to upload every day and kind of have that where I can see you guys' response, where I can respond to you guys, where I can address or even change course or follow your recommendations to do different things. I love that dynamic to the channel. I may take off days like in between trips. Last year I calculated I had an average of 3 days off a month. I think I need to get more comfortable with taking a day off. Again, I take inspiration from Adam, and Adam did every day. I don't know if I'm as entertaining and talented enough to make some of the things interesting that he was able to make interesting. So I'm not going to hold myself up to that standard, because Adam's a different person than me. Adam has a different, as much as inspiration I've taken from him, our videos are very different. Our themes are different. We don't make the same kind of videos. We do make the same kind of videos, but different versions of the same kind of videos. So, family, Jen, my kids, my parents, my siblings, and my extended family. I do want to spend time with them, and I do want to see them while, that sounds really dark. Like while everyone is here, just, you don't know. So I do want to spend, take off days to be able to spend with family. So, I guess I'll just play it by ear. I'm going to try to figure out, because yesterday I didn't want to take a day off. I'm like, I need to find something to film, I need to go out there. But in the end, I needed to sit down. I did work, like I said. I didn't actually take the day off. I did plans, but I probably need to learn to take days off. I don't like just sitting around the house. I feel depressed if I'm not doing something, if I'm not filming. So yeah, that may be something I need to work on. Not, being able to relax. This is an ongoing theme on this channel. I've talked about this a lot on the cruise ship. Just my inability to relax, my inability to understand how to relax. It's a constant struggle, a constant battle. So yeah, let me know what you think. Suggestions, comments, anything I said in this video, please do leave a comment on. If you're new to the channel, this was probably not a good video to start with. Go watch something where I'm at a theme park, roadside attraction, or a museum or a haunted house. That's a better way to start. So sometimes I do like to just sit down and talk to you guys every now and then. Like I said, I like to do walk and talks like Adam kind of taught me the art of the walk and talk. Sometimes you get better, you just think better when you're walking and moving around. But man, it's cold out there. It's in the 20s. So I decided, this is the Tennessee Welcome Center here. So I decided today we're gonna have to do the car because it's cold. Yeah, but again, if you like these videos, consider subscribing. Like I said, I travel all around the country, looking to travel outside the country some this year. If you'd like to support the channel, like I said, the support from you guys has allowed this channel to succeed. I don't ask for support. I don't ask anyone for support that they don't have to give. I don't ask anyone to feel obligated to support the channel. If I receive no support from you guys, I'd still be able to make videos, but with you guys' support, I'm able to, invest in the channel, to go further, to visit things, to get to things that I used to not be able to get to. And I don't want you guys, when you contribute, I don't want you to just give money and not feel like you've gotten something in return. That's why I think Patreon, I like to get, what happens with Patreon, you give a monthly donation. I will send you a postcard. If it's $3 or more, I will send you a postcard. If it is a $5 donation, you get a chance at getting a vintage postcard. And if it's a $10 donation, you get a vintage postcard. I'm a collector of vintage postcards, so I like to share my collection by sending out those vintage postcards. We also have the Etsy shop. So if you want, if you want a souvenir, if you want something, again, I don't want anyone to feel like they need to buy something they don't want to support this channel. But if you want a souvenir, we have pressed pennies, motel key fobs, enamel pins, stickers down there. Then we have Cameo. If you want to get a personalized message from me, you can do that. I've got that turned back on. Basically, I'll record a message, a custom message on video. You can take that, you can send it to a friend, a family member. You can just get it for yourself. If you want to ask me some questions and have me send a video answering those questions, I can do that. Happy to do it. And as I always say, all those things, what they do, they help to keep this train on the track, this boat in the water, and this dirigible in the air. Till next time, my friends, this one's in the bag.